can go find your direct space after that.
Okay.
So we have a good working relationship with a ton of providers that, or executive suite providers, the WeWorks, Regis's, et cetera. And then, we're providing our clients intros there and kind of helping them negotiate that part of the lease. And then when they're ready to move out, we're finding direct space too. So there's a good kind of working relationship there.
Oh, okay. To switch gears a little bit here, I know, as we look at the commercial real estate industry, I guess, it can be a daunting world, especially if you're new to it.
Yeah.
So what are some things that you see people make mistakes in? I mean, what are some common things to maybe keep an eye out for, especially if it's your first time?
Yeah, good question. I think, so for the first time, I think we work with so many brilliant people, founders of companies that have kind of built, pretty cool teams and projects and whatnot from scratch, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the biggest downfalls we see is a tenant just negotiating a lease themselves, especially on a renewal when they're already in there. We do lease abstracts for a lot of our clients. We sent you one once we were done, where we just basically go through the document and we point out any of the significant terms, renewal options, relocation options, and it's amazing how many times we'll go through a group that has been unrepresented in the past on a just a straightforward lease renewal and said, hey, I have a great working relationship with the landlord. We just negotiated the rate ourselves. But then there's these little clauses like that there's, a floor of what the renewal can be at. It's above market already. Or they have a relocation clause where they can just be moved, with 60-day notice to another suite in the building. So I'd say having someone be, your advisor and really looking out for you is one of the bigger mistakes. I don't think that there's no cost to that. Mm-hmm. The fee is paid by the landlord anyways. Right. So I'd always I've even told people that end up not choosing us, like, hey, work with someone though, just so that your interests are protected, because the landlord has a broker on their side that's doing the same thing for him. So I think it's always smart to have a commercial broker on your side being your advocate and looking out for you. I would also say another kind of downfall is just not giving yourself enough time in the process. There's a lot of times, especially if it's your first time, you just don't know how long certain things take, and it's not always in your control. Sure. Permit times with the city is a big one. Right now, with the amount of projects there are, sometimes those can take up to 12 weeks, so you're at 3 months of just dead time where nothing's happening. That's something that's not in your control. What's another one that I really run into a lot? Hidden costs of certain things, not having the low voltage cabling or furniture, not understanding how much those are. So it's good to kind of give yourself enough time, really understand what all the costs will be, so that when you do make that decision on your space, you have a good understanding of what the whole cost or whole occupancy cost picture is.
Sure, that makes sense. And I'll say, speaking of going through this process myself for the first time, working with you guys was extremely helpful for all three of those reasons.
Right.
The fact that it doesn't come out of our pocket necessarily, we got somebody in our corner, was a great opportunity to make sure that we didn't just go into this blindly. So
right. I mean, and we're doing 30 to 50 transactions a year, whereas someone maybe is looking at their lease once every 3 years or 5 years. So it's it's something where we've seen a lot of the potential pitfalls over and over again, and we know kind of how to get around them or what to do when they do come up.
Sure.
Whereas someone who's renewing their lease every 5 years or maybe picking up and moving every 5 years, you're only doing that one time. The market could have shifted in that time period too. So it's just nice to have someone really looking out for you, especially when there's no cost. So it's just all about building that relationship and having a good sense of trust with that group that you're working with, and hopefully they do right by you and you work with them for a long time.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe that's a good place to kind of wrap up here. Do you want to maybe share a little bit more about how people can maybe use you guys, your team, and how you plug in, as they find themselves in this position?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that the ultimate goal for our team is to build a long-term working relationship with them. I think that we pride ourselves on our communication, our planning, and just our follow-through. We say something to the client, and we're going to do that. And if we do right by a client, the first time, there's going to be a renewal, there's going to be a relocation down the road. Sure. So we're really in this, for a long-term relationship. And we have a group of 5 people. We have marketing, we have research. So we have all these tools available to us. We're a small we treat ourselves like a small boutique firm that only represents clients, but we have these international resources where we can open offices anywhere around the world. But that's what I'd say we pride ourselves on, is that small boutique level of service, but with international resources.
Okay. Yeah, that's great to know. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, is there an email address or something that they can?
Yeah, so my email is just taylor.olson, taylor.olson @colliers.com, COLLIERS.com.
All right, great. Well, I appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah,
Great to hear a
absolutely.
little bit more about the market and get a sense of some pitfalls, some things to keep an eye on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. Appreciate
Of
it.
course, yeah. Well, thank you for joining us on the Mainsail Financial Group Podcast. Again, our goal is to bring experts to the area and kind of give you a sense of some of the stuff that we don't necessarily focus on day to day. So really appreciate Taylor coming out. Hopefully that was helpful.